last time we spoke, you were working with Tom Taylor on Earth 2.
That's right.
Since then, a whole bucket load of stuff has changed. Can you bring us up to speed? Where are we now?
Yeah, sure. Oh, God, I'm still trying to keep track myself. I officially left DC, but then I stuck around a little longer to do a Convergence title. I did New Teen Titans from like 1984. And then I went on to do a creator-owned series with a writer called Greg Rucko, who's one of my favorite people and one of my favorite writers. We're working on a book together called Black Magick. We're 5 issues in, which is one half of an arc, but it's a trade's worth. And we've both put that idea on pause for a little bit while we go in and do a Wonder Woman origin story called Wonder Woman Year One.
So hang on. You made a big deal about escaping from DC and escaping from the man, and now you're back. What's up with that?
Well, when DC comes to you and knocks on the door and says, we want you to do a Wonder Woman origin story, and Wonder Woman is Greg's favorite character and my favorite character, we were sort of saying to each other, we can't say no to this, right? Can we? No. So we were just like, okay, we're just going to have to put Black Magick on pause for a few months while we get this done.
And it is only for a few months. You will go back to Labour of Love?
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit? I mean, I'm assuming people are familiar with Wonder Woman and who she is, and maybe a bit about where she's come from, but you will obviously elaborate on that. But can you elaborate on Black Magick for people who might not be familiar with that one?
Okay, yes. So this is my first major creator-owned project. So it means that Greg Rucko and I have created it from scratch, all the characters, all the settings, the whole story. It's ours, we own it, which is pretty exciting. It's a witch-noir story, so it's very moody, it's very atmospheric. It's essentially about a police detective who happens to be a witch. And nefarious forces are conspiring to bring way more attention in her direction than she would like.
Yeah. Sounds pretty intriguing. And also sounds something very different to the superheroes and the bang, bow, kapow sort of stuff that you've been doing beforehand. Yeah. What's that sort of mind shift been like?
Look, it's really exciting. My favorite part of this job is the storytelling, the narrative. And when you're working in superhero comics, you're doing a lot of the storytelling in action. There's very little standing around talking. When people are talking and things are happening, they're usually punching people in the face at the same time. With Black Magick, it's a lot quieter. There's a lot of no dialogue pages and scenes. There's a lot more opportunity for nuance and subtlety, which, superhero books are just not about. So it's really fun to sort of still have that narrative panel-to-panel flow, but there can be a gentleness and a subtlety to the storytelling. And every now and then there's some action that's a little more engaging because it takes you by surprise.
Now, as an artist, I'm going to assume that probably when you were a little girl, you would have been drawing lots of pictures.
All the time.
Which style was your native drawing more like? Was it more like the superheroes, or was it more like this more subtle, nuanced stuff, or somewhere in between?
I was always drawing superheroes. I grew up on superheroes, not on comic books. My introduction to superheroes came from the TV shows and the movies. So Linda Carter and Christopher Reeve and Adam West, bless them all. So I was always drawing superheroes, but my artistic influences were more fine arts and modern art. And my mother was a painter and my grandmother was a painter, and so the way I was kind of trained to see art and to appreciate art is in subtlety. And my mother taught me how to paint when I was really young, and painting was kind of what I used to do as well as drawing. But I kind of lost my painting skills when I was drawing superheroes all the time, because it's a very specific job in that you work in pencil and you work in line work, and if you want gradation from black to white, you do various versions of cross-hatching. And you can do some really interesting things with that. But when you're painting, you've got a lot more flexibility when it comes to texture and tone and light, and I've had an absolute ball of a time.
How do you feel with little girls? Like, there are lots of little girls,
Yeah.
you know, at places like Comic-Con, and they're dressed up as superheroes, some of whom you have drawn.
Yeah.
How does it feel to know that you could be an icon and a role model for these little girls? And little boys too, for that matter, just putting it out there.
Look, it's one of those things where if I think about it too much, it overwhelms me in terms of, oh gosh, responsibility. Don't listen to what I say. I'm a moron. But every now and then, someone does come back to me after, you know, a period of time, and they say, "You said something to me," or "You did something," and I'm instantly, I'm just like, "Oh God, what did I say? What did I say?" I'm sure it was really inappropriate. But more often than not, they said that I sort of, I don't know, I encouraged them in the right way. I said just the right thing at just the right time that they needed. Really, I feel like I was just lucky enough to be there at the right time. But it's a huge responsibility, but it's also a real honor to sort of have that opportunity to potentially make a difference in someone's life.